Yeah, hi Noah. Mate, just having a look at this particular wave. Good wave, by the way. Sorry about the footage, it's a little bit distant. It's not zoomed in real well, but you get the general idea. So, how do we improve this wave as far as its performance goes and throwing scores? Um, it's probably at the very top of the good range anyway. Um, but if you want to get the maximum, a 10, which it's quite, possible that on this wave you could have got that. I think there's a couple of things that you could have thought about. One is variety, and the second is the fact that I think both your top terms could have just been a little bit more vertical, at least one of them, to just break up a bit too much the same. And so that variety is really important. So variation of repertoire is part of the criteria, and it's something that judges have been focusing on quite a bit this year. So I think when we play it through, I'll just play it through normal and just have a bit of a look at it. So, nice committed turn, plenty of spray, same again. Um, and then your last manoeuvre, even though you didn't quite surf out of it, was probably right on the money. Your other option would have been to do a lip line floater. But in saying that, if you feel confident enough to pull off that air R, then go for it, mate. And you nearly made it. So just taking you back to the beginning, and we'll go through a slow-mo, and I'll just talk you through a few things. One is that really nice, quite a good bottom turn, and we just lose a bit of focus here. But as you come up, a couple more frames, you'll see that when you come up to the top of the wave, you don't really get 12 o'clock, and you start your second half of your turn a little bit early. What I would have preferred to see you do is come off here, deep bottom turn, and basically here, back around, and then perhaps even a little bit of a slide, generate speed, and then go again. I'm not saying it's a bad turn, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to help you improve and think about variation you could do. So we're moving along again, slow-mo, and see what we get. So basically, you're coming out of that turn, and then you're setting yourself back up for another good bottom turn. And it's a very similar turn when you go up and you hit, once again, just a little bit short. You're putting the ball on rail early, and you don't quite get into that reverse tail slide from there. So you get a little bit of a hit off the top. Would have been good if you could have actually brought the board from here back around to here, held it up there for a little bit, and then back around. Something to think about, something to improve on, and I'm being super critical here because it's a really good wave actually. So then you come down and you see you never really go straight back to the bottom. You're generating speed through the high, lining it down the line. Now you go to the bottom, and then you look at this section here. If I just pause it here, you have two options. One option is to either do what you did, and that is go bang up to the air, or the other option would be to basically hit it, lip line finish, launch out in front, and come back down. Alright? I'm not saying you made the wrong decision. In fact, I think you made a great decision. It's just a shame you didn't surf out in front of it. So, looking at that wave, probably would have got, on that particular day, probably would have scored a 7.5 to an 8, which is the top of the good range, bottom of the excellent. I think, one, if you made your last manoeuvre, which, is just as important to what we're talking about here, if you completed your last manoeuvre there, and because it was innovative and progressive, you would have probably gone close to a 10. The other thing you could have done is softened that last turn, gone for a lip line finish, but hit that first manoeuvre high and tight, super vertical, 12 o'clock. Once again, that could have changed the score from a 8 to a 10. And that's what we want to try and do. We want to try and get those excellent scores, because the surfers that win consistently are those who can always get two excellent scores. So, mate, hope that helps, and I'll catch you soon.